map to go in the wall, a hurl, a stick in a shinty bowl, the brick, the brack, the crack, and all. Let's call it an Irish pub. Caffrey's hard, Kilkenny, a pub, the Guinness, pint, a cabbage, crap, the I don't want to be paddy trapped. We'll call it an Irish pub. While I'll be fucked to swear.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Pubcast. My name is Brendan O'Neill, and I would normally be joined by Mike Cross and Michelle Riley. But in these first few episodes, we are revisiting our previous podcast, Boardwalk Breakdown. Basically, we're shutting down the Boardwalk Breakdown podcast and moving those 13 episodes over here so we can keep them alive and well in our archives. So, the Pubcast is our new podcast where we'll talk about all kinds of stuff and not be limited to only talking about Boardwalk Empire. And it will actually begin on episode 14. So just consider these first 13 episodes as bonus content. Sláinte. Welcome to the Boardwalk Breakdown podcast featuring Michelle Riley, Mike Cross, and me, Brendan O'Neill. If you have any comments or questions, you can contact us on Twitter at Boardwalk Break. Enjoy the show. All right, episode 5. Before we start, we have our first foursome for our podcast. We have our friend Tim, who's adding to our threesome here. So say hello to the
Hello.
Hi, Tim Trotter. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Welcome to our
Thank you,
podcast.
my brothers and sisters.
We're working in the dark with flashlights.
And we have a
Fantastic.
spider.
All right, let's just jump into it then.
First of all, we have to say that we...
last week we had a technical snafu. We recorded the episode 4 podcast, and everything was great until it came time to save it and edit and use it, and nothing worked. So
I just want to state for the record that it was my best work.
It was. Michael admitted that I was the most brilliant in
Actually,
that
Michelle's
episode.
best
So,
work.
of course, I think I've been sabotaged.
By the man.
By the man.
by the men.
Of course. But anyway, this episode was, I think, better.
It was better because it
better
was 2 or 3 episodes packed into one.
It was
crazy.
action-packed.
Well, this is the pace that we talked about at the beginning that I knew that would come eventually.
Yeah.
Is that we've got 3 hours left, correct?
Yeah.
6,
Yeah,
7,
3
8,
hours.
maybe 3.5.
It's not enough.
They're going to have to fast forward a lot of this stuff, and they're
And
wrapping
they are
things
moving
up
swiftly.
nicely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I will say, too, and B, maybe you can concede this point, the flashbacks were particularly important this week.
The not-so-favorites of Brendan O'Neill.
Right,
Yeah.
he's not a favorite.
Are you going to cop to that in this episode, that this was important in the realm of what's going on in today? The 1932 today.
I don't know. I still like the present day.
I have to say, though, that, and we'll get into all of the details, but I am particularly curious about Mabel and who I assume is his wife, because it's obvious that she's got a lot more to do with this story than we imagine.
Apparently, yeah.
Absolutely.
And you seem to get the sense that this is key to understanding why Nucky is the way he is today. And I can't say with 100% certainty, but it feels like maybe the preview had her for next week. The preview contained a flashback, but no, it makes it sound like maybe in the present day.
Yeah.
Maybe in the present day.
See, I figure maybe
Maybe
Mabel gets
there's a
killed.
whack.
Yeah.
Oh, well, she does. I think so.
She's gone. I don't know if she gets
But I think the
killed.
flashbacks are all culminating to the death of Mabel, and I thought she was pregnant. I thought they had a baby.
Well,
Or she died during childbirth.
Right.
Or,
I don't
pregnancy
think
and
she
the
may just
pregnancy.
be gone. That baby may be somewhere. We don't know yet.
Wow.
Anyway, I feel like that's going to be a very big, foundational guidepost in the story.
Well, I think if anything, it'll tell a lot about what we've all thought, and that's that Nucky is constantly looking for this or pining for this, even though he doesn't know that he necessarily wants it. He can feel that pull.
Yeah.
The Kennedy pull.
How
to have 1 million children.
So we open with Nucky being the deputy sheriff.
Yeah.
And
he's under the boardwalk when they find a pig. A hog, basically. A hog.
A hog.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
That was really weird.
And what do we think of the 20-year-old Nucky?
Great dental prosthetics.
I thought
Without
the
question.
same thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He was good. I saw him on Twitter getting a lot of compliments.
Well, he nailed
on
it. I mean, he really nailed the whole mannerisms and all that.
So is that Buscemi, 30 years ago, or what?
Right, exactly.
I mean,
Pretty damn close.
pretty close, yeah.
They did a great casting.
So this was really revealing, right? He really shows his potential to the sheriff and to the Commodore by, making a suggestion of how they handle things, by
Right.
deputizing the 20 guys.
Right.
And it was a nice pickup from the previous episode with Mr. Lasky saying deputy.
Right.
Yeah. And then we see a little exchange between the Commodore and this Mr. Halligan, who's like basically fucking stuff up with the Commodore. He's defying him or standing in his way, and you can tell he's obviously going to get whacked in some way.
Right.
It's just a matter of time and how and when. I like the idea of Nucky sort of being in the background and keeping his aura growing as the deputy sheriff. He's speaking up more than the sheriff is. He's,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he
He's
seems
becoming-
like he's making his move
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he wants to be seen as the guy in front of the Commodore.
right.
Absolutely.
And-
And he eventually will.
And I like
I
how
think
he-
Lasky is going to
Yes.
meet his demise.
And I liked how
So.
Nucky sort of editorialized about, there's nothing illegal about it.
Right.
We're just gonna enforce the vagrancy laws here.
Get rid of the undesirable characters.
The undesirable.
Yes.
And then, all right, so then Nucky and Mabel...
The Irish.
Yeah, the undesirables.
Need not apply.
But not the Irish.
Except the Kennedys.
Right, except the Kennedys, of course.
So then we go... sticking on this sort of storyline. Nucky and Mabel have lunch with her father, Mr. Jeffries. And Nucky talks about having a plan to get rich in Atlantic City, helping the city grow, sort of his ambitions for staying local and becoming a big part of Atlantic City. And the dad obviously doesn't think favorably of Nucky. And
No.
Nucky throws a little line I thought was interesting, maybe not telling, but it was kind of a fun line, was every story has a beginning. And he was sort of describing his own flashback within the flashback there.
Right.
And then the father drops a line that almost verbatim is said later in the story by a different character. And I think this is the theme of the episode, although I don't have a snappy comparison. To me, this is the theme of the episode. And it was, the father says, I don't think you know what you are. And that comes up later with another character,
Wow.
another character. Most of the characters that we follow in this episode don't know who they are, or they are hiding who they are, or they're realizing who they are.
Well, I think that's a metaphor for Nucky's life,
Right.
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 And the part of that scene, and I don't want to jump away from that too quickly, but the part that really grabbed me was when the father tells him, "Well, prove it to me,
Yeah.
and prove it to yourself."
Yep.
And I think this is just more affirmation that Nucky was this character growing up who really didn't have a leg up, and now he's starting to see the avenue out, right? And he also sees in a beautiful way that in this particular point in time in our history, life was a zero-sum game, right? There had to be a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
So he even says to the father, we're fighting over the same thing, and one of us is going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like...
Super confident young Nucky.
Right, and he is super confident, but the way that he even says it, it's not like he's saying it in a smarmy way. He's saying it as if, that's just life, buddy. Deal with it, right? It's not...
And it made it feel like is Nucky that far below in social stature to this guy? I mean, he obviously was significantly below, because
Significantly, yes.
otherwise this wouldn't have been such an adversarial thing.
Sure.
I mean, it's,
Of course.
He
was the poor kid with
the
a drunk father.
No fathers like who their daughters
Well, he's
want
looking
to
down
marry.
at him, and Nucky feels it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
right
sure
off of the
wasn't the
heels
first
of this lunch, he goes to the sheriff and says, I want to help you with all the Commodore's illegal stuff. He wants to start doing extra work, legal or not, to build his money, build his power,
build his credibility.
Didn't
that's all of his credibility.
Did that seem overly dramatic that he came in the middle of the night?
It did to me.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
felt a little
overplayed.
gratuitous
No,
to me.
it was odd that he came in the middle of the night.
I thought it was a forced scene. I don't think
Yeah.
they needed to do it. I
Right.
think they could have worked that.
They could have worked it in
somewhere
different way.
else.
Yeah.
Although I will say that flashback, we've debated this on this podcast many times as to whether he and Jillian are closer in age. Brendan's maintained that Nucky is significantly older than Jillian, and Michael and I sort of
Argue
always felt
against
that they
that.
were the same age. But this flashback sort of indicates that Jillian must be younger than he, because if she was 13 when she got pregnant with
Right.
Jimmy,
'Cause he's
he was
gotta
already
be
getting ready to
18
get
by
married.
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case because they just haven't necessarily shown us that side of the Commodore at this
Right.
point.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
he's
think-
working up to
but he's-
brokering that deal
He's
for Jillian.
significantly older than Jillian was when she met the Commodore.
I thought
That's
this might
true.
have
That's
been
what-
Nucky at 13 making it happen. It's not clear
No,
that
it's
he's
not.
older.
But
Yeah, 20.
to Mike's point, I think they have indicated Commodore's interest in young women because
Well, no,
the
they totally did.
Yeah.
that previous episode.
Right.
Which was a
Before they laid out the map.
I
There were
know.
all these
Creepy.
12, 13-year-old girls that
I
he covered
missed
up.
it.
Yeah, we actually talked about that last week in the Lost podcast.
The Lost
But
podcast.
yeah, you're right, Tim. That was creepy, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was
very
brief,
creepy.
and if you weren't paying attention, you might have missed
Absolutely.
it. But that was
Yeah,
very
that's where I get in trouble for writing my notes during the episode. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed it.
And it was quick. It
was
quick.
quick.
It was
It
less
was
than
a-
5
It wasn't
seconds.
kind of
No,
a
yeah, it was
shuffle,
3
yeah.
second thing.
Yeah. So this is like 1897. So this is roughly
Yes.
14, 15 years after the previous flashbacks.
Yeah, sets of
So
flashbacks.
Nucky's in his
20s.
20s, 25,
Yeah.
Maybe
22.
between 20 and 25.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So based on the Commodore's predilection for young girls, although she's not young enough, I leaped to the conclusion that maybe he makes a move on Mabel,
The Commodore.
makes Nucky
Which
eventually
factor
makes
into
Nucky
the-
turn against him. Somehow Mabel gets killed in the scuffle, and that's why they're against each other, and that's how Nucky turns on the Commodore, and the Commodore goes to jail.
That's an interesting play, but
It
let's
could be.
we got to see how that works
It
out.
could be a
because
stretch, but it's
But it was already sort of thrown out there that the Commodore went to jail
Right.
for something they were all complicit
We knew
in.
something.
So
Right.
I'm not sure that was.
I think it was-
thing, but it'll be interesting.
And-
It's an interesting
yeah,
theory.
election-
and we
rigging
kind
or
of
something.
Oh, and we also know that the Commodore is not into 20-year-old girls. He's into 12-year-old
12-year-old.
girls, 13-year-old girls. He's
So-
not.
Maybe
That's
there
his
was-
flavor.
yeah,
But
who
who knows? Well, it'll be interesting to see how that plays
But
out.
that could have been the wedge between the two.
Could be.
Yeah.
There are a number of opportunities there.
There's a lot of
believe me.
wedges.
Yeah.
One of many.
And then, so this storyline basically winds down with Nucky under the boardwalk again, finding another body.
Right.
This time it's not a hog, it's Halligan.
Yes.
It's the guy who was in the
50.
Commodore's way.
The guy who
50.
The guy with the 50.
Right.
50 under
The
the hat
$50
from
bill
the
under the hat.
first flashback.
Yeah.
So it was weird because when I first saw that flashback and it was the pig, and I thought, is this a dream? What
Yeah.
is this? And then when it was a real person, then it made me think even more like, was that a dream? Like, is that some sort of symbol? I don't quite understand why there was a pig.
I think
Well-
there's definitely symbolism there
Yeah.
between the two because that guy was kind of a hog trying to get, get the Commodore.
Well,
to play.
anyway, what's next on your
Yeah.
list, B?
I got Capone.
He's all backed up.
Yes.
He certainly is.
So-
He is
I
backed
actually read that this was a chronic problem for Capone, one that, I'm familiar with myself. And boy, let me tell you, I felt for him. That had to be one of the most obscene...
What just happened? We just
Spider.
turned for a
Oh, none of you have had
Turn for the
babies.
worse.
You don't
A
even know the
different-
half of it.
this went sideways quick. But
That was crazy how they opened that
It was a-
scene with him on the toilet.
it was amazing. It was a fantastic introduction of a character in an episode.
Without question.
Yes.
One of my all-time favorite.
What did they say?
One of
when
your
he's in there?
all-time favorite moments?
No, one of my favorite moments this season of
Okay.
hey, we're bringing on a character.
Well, it
and
was ballsy to put that
It was
in
very
there, that's
ballsy.
for
I mean,
sure.
it was just like,
Did they say he was like wrestling a shark or something?
yeah, he was wrestling a shark.
Yeah.
Something to that
Yes.
effect.
yes.
All right, Capone trying to take a shit. And we find out all the usual information we know about Capone at this time. He's under investigation by the IRS for
Things
tax.
are hot in
Right?
that camp. His brother's been arrested.
Yeah, tax
they gotta
evasion.
go. They gotta go out to Betty Maltese.
Right. He wants to get out to Cicero right away.
All the way
take
out.
everything out.
Like
All
that
5
night,
miles
that
night.
weekend, he's going to Cicero.
Yeah.
Which is a bit upsetting to the undercover Fed. Like, what?
Right.
Now?
I don't have
Right
time
now?
for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, D'Angelo, I believe. is his name.
Oh,
Thank
D'Angelo.
you.
And then he also mentions sort of in passing that he did warn Nucky about Luciano. And, that was the first time we heard that. We knew it, but it was the first time it was talked about in the episode. The next storyline pops up, because that was just a quick little one.
Right.
But I thought it was interesting with the cockroach. I'm like,
Oh,
what is the
yeah,
purpose
yeah,
of
yeah,
showing
yeah.
this cockroach
Yeah.
with the little foreshadowing to later when they're in
Yeah.
the police
Yeah.
department? But I thought that was
good.
First, I'm like, this is kind
Then
of
we
random.
go to...
It was
We
very
got-
random at the time, but it all
He's-
made sense.
Capone is over the edge.
Yeah.
Just a little.
He
He's
is
got
over the
he is.
top.
Nucky at his club. And we see one of our favorites, Mickey Doyle,
Mickey Doyle.
and his boy turned bodyguard, whatever that kid is, his little lackey.
Okay,
Have
what are
we
you gonna
spoken
say
about him?
Okay,
Oh,
did
we've
you-
talked
did
about
you-
Mickey.
Okay.
I think he is either Tommy Darmody,
Yeah.
Jimmy's kid,
Yep.
Jimmy and
Yep.
Lucy's kid.
You are not alone. There's
Wait,
a lot
who?
of people that think that.
The
Harper.
young Joe Harper, the one that
Yeah.
Mickey
Oh, I
Doyle
thought you
picked
meant
out
Mickey
of the
Doyle.
group.
Okay.
I think because why else is he picking this random 17-year-old kid?
Right.
I think he's Tommy Darmody because that little kid has been in like all the episodes
Right.
in some way, shape, or form. Either as a little baby or with that, when what's his
Right.
name goes crazy and kills all those people in the whorehouse. It could be him, or until you said this a few minutes ago, Michelle, it could also be Nucky's
Offspring?
offspring.
Interesting.
Because he's got to be pivotal, that
Or-
young kid.
It's
Joel, right?
I buy the
Yeah.
Darmody.
It was Joe
I buy the
Harper.
Darmody
Joe
thing.
Harper.
I don't know that I'm on board with Nucky's kid. I think Darmody might be a little bit more of a...
So full disclosure, I actually did some web surfing.
oh, okay.
And I've been reading other people's sort of recap episodes. I think I took a look at a site called Vulture. The writer's name is Craig Lindsay, and he was
All right.
particularly, I really liked what he had to say. I also looked at Rolling Stone and New York Times, I usually look at. And, the blogosphere, the comment world, a lot of people are in the camp that this must be Tommy Darmody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that did not occur to me.
It
but
could
I
just
think
be
it's
a random guy who becomes Doyle's personal
Funky.
guy,
We
his
are
bodyguard.
random,
Because I believe historically his bodyguard plays a role in Mickey Doyle's death, which happens soon.
Hopefully we'll see that.
Yeah.
I
I've
think
had
we
enough
will.
of Mickey.
Oh,
No,
Mickey is-
I know, I
Mickey's
know he's a fan of the podcast,
Eh.
but
As a
He's
minor
the
character,
worst. I'm with
Yeah.
you, Tim.
just the
he's
shy.
the worst. But
Any
that's
of
why
you guys
he's the best.
see a pie cooling on my
In
window?
fact, one of these podcasters referenced him and called him Giggles.
Giggles.
I thought that
That's
was
good.
great. That was
And I
great.
love how all the characters that are coming back to see Nucky are like,
You
this
still
guy's
got
running your
this
feet.
guy?
still here?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
still
that
here.
is so true.
He won't die.
I love that. I love the part of this, and I don't know if I'm getting ahead, but the part of the episode when the marshal comes to
Yeah,
look
yeah,
for
yeah.
Chalky.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting there.
Colored
Yeah.
guy with a scar on his face. Good stuff.
Okay, Doyle. Chalky is seen in Nucky's
In a
office
fine-looking suit.
in a nice suit, and Chalky's like, oh, it's nice to be back on my old juke joint or whatever he says. Obviously, Nucky ran that. Nucky. I do that every time. Chalky ran that before.
Knocky, I think you called him.
Knocky,
Yeah,
yes.
Knocky.
I've done
I
Knocky,
did have to
Chalky,
laugh, though, because
Locky.
Chunky.
Nucky offered him a drink, and Chucky said no, and he says, God, does nobody
anyone
drink
drink
anymore?
Right,
anymore?
right.
One of the great lines of the,
Yeah.
Right.
of the episode.
And so Chalky catches us up on his life, I think, before he was in the chain gang. I think he talks about, or maybe afterwards, but I don't think there's enough time for that. I think he's telling Nucky what he did in the past 7 years. He talks about robbing gas stations, storefronts, and doing his thing, but sort of out of the.
Oh, I got the impression that's what he's been doing to get back since he left jail.
No, no.
Because I don't think there's enough time for that. I think
I think this is all encompassing of the time that Chalky just.
And then because
He's
ended
catching
that,
Nucky up.
and he ended
Not
that
us.
little spiel with, and then I ended up in jail.
Right.
And I think he even said, not that I didn't deserve it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fitting. And we found out that he was in Maryland in jail, which we didn't really know from
Yeah.
earlier. Like, I don't know if it matters, but
Yep. Chucky is there.
Nucky responded very favorably to him, though.
Oh yeah.
I
Well, he
mean,
offered him the money.
Gave him the
He gave him
money.
a
Said
place
it
to
was
stay.
Between friends,
Basically
not-
set him up. So there's obvious. I mean, these two are the.
these two are going to come back.
Right.
They're gonna.
This is what I was hoping for.
They're gonna come back with a vengeance, and these. I think that's how.
But this goes back to my idea of the theme of identity and changing and evolving and all that. Nucky is a different guy to Chalky than he was before.
Right.
But-
Similar, but a
Right.
different level.
Right.
But what I like about it is the evolution of the two characters. So they both are in way different places than they were 10 years ago,
Right.
right? But there's still that mutual respect between the two of them that kind of lives on, and even though they haven't seen each other in God only knows how long, they're still...
Yeah.
And look at how Nucky treats Chalky after a few minutes, and how he's been treating Mickey Doyle that we've been seeing.
Right.
I mean, they just
One
treat-
gets respect, one doesn't.
Absolutely.
Well, I actually hate to mix storylines here, but this conversation is bringing something up to me. So what's so funny is we're going to get to Eli and Nelson later.
Another great
my
combo.
favorite comedy
Another
duo.
great
But
combo.
those two, I mean, who knew that they were going to end up being the, enduring love story of the entire show?
They're the
are
Abbott and Costello.
Laurel and Hardy.
The
The
Laurel
Laurel
and
and
Hardy.
Hardy.
They
Totally.
are the...
Tom and Jerry.
No, you know what they are? They're the honeymooners. I mean,
They're a
they
couple of-
are to the moon, Alice.
Couple of bumbling idiots.
But they love each other. I mean, he sits there and tells them how he had this, and I'm borrowing this from someone I saw, drunken nooner.
Yeah.
And he has a drunken nooner with his wife, and at the end of the day,
We've
they're
all
both
had
kind
a
of like,
drunken nooner.
hell, we're in this together. I mean, no one gives a shit. And it's funny because there is sort of this brotherhood between the two, and I kind of, I didn't really think about this until now. I sort of see that in a more somber and mature way between Nucky and Chalky, where it's kind of like, listen,
Right.
you screwed me over, I screwed you over, we're terrible people, but you know what, there's a lot of water under this bridge, and right now we're in it together. And
Pass me the flatbread.
and that's when he sort of,
let's stay
said
on
this
this
is
then.
between friends,
Let's
right?
stay
The
on this.
money, when Nucky gives Chalky the money.
So, to backtrack a second to when we are introduced to Eli in Chicago, drunk, a mess. His wife shows up. He
is
forgot
a
she was
hot
coming.
mess.
He's out of control.
The odd dreams come back.
Yeah,
Well.
he's got.
They weren't dreams.
She shows up,
Flashbacks.
and she's 7 months pregnant
She is PG from the last time in town. Holy shnikes.
with their
Number 9.
37th
Number
kid. I don't
9.
Number
know.
9.
Oh my god!
Making a baseball team.
It's ridiculous.
So now this is where we learn, I think, to the contrary of what I thought before, that he's on the run. He's not officially there with Nucky's business in mind.
Right.
He's on
We
his own.
were wondering
Right.
about that, and you're right. This is when we
really
that
find out.
understood
Yeah.
that he is on the run.
Yeah. So
Because,
he's
But Nucky
actually,
sent
he's
him.
not on the run though. Because
not on the run. He's just ostracized. He's not
no, but
part of the
she
family.
mentions that Nucky
Right.
gives her an allowance.
Yeah, and I thought at the end of last season, Nucky sent him to Chicago. I thought that's how
That's
it
what we
ended.
thought.
we
too.
couldn't wrap our heads around whether he was sent there
Or whether he
he's
just
escaping
escaping
there.
from there.
But the way he talks in this one, it implies differently. Maybe it's just a cover for his wife, and so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
who knows. But all right, let me get a couple details out of the way just to catch us up. Eli wants the family to move with him to Chicago. The wife says, June, the wife.
Yes,
I
June
need
is-
you. I need you there.
Well, she says, but your brother wouldn't keep sending the money if we moved.
Right.
And Eli says, "Don't touch that money. My life has nothing to do with his. So we're separate.
And I'm
Screw that guy.
gaining something.
Yeah,
here.
I'm becoming a big thing here now. So I was very confused. I'm assuming he's on his own, and Nucky was just helping out the family, just to
Help out the
help
family.
out the family, right? Because he kind of has
Well,
a
he's
thing
got the
with kids.
relationship with Eli's oldest,
Right.
right? So maybe he's just trying to keep things some semblance of reality.
I know where I was headed.
I think he cares for that family.
Oh, I think in his way, yeah, he does. I think to
Yeah.
dive a little bit deeper
he
into it,
does.
I think there's some level of want and need to have that in his life.
The only reason Eli's alive is because he cares about family.
Well, is there?
That's right.
Wait,
Yeah.
is there some kind of cadence that we're even missing here between the Kennedy storyline where he says, Joe Kennedy says a few episodes back, I'm going to have 9 because I'm going to fill out a baseball team.
Very good.
Eli's having his 9, right? And he's not having a baseball team, but he's breaking
I
the
missed
tie
that.
of
That's
4
great,
boys, 4
Michael.
girls,
Too.
right? So I think this is an overriding theme that Nucky is still, to this day, it's 1932-ish, and he's this standalone guy, right? He's got this wife.
That's
and
why
his
Margaret's looking
stepkids
so
and-
good right now.
So,
Yeah.
on the family level, Eli has more in common with Kennedy than Nucky does.
Totally. Without question.
Nucky more insane.
Without question, he does.
Yeah.
So if Joe Kennedy were to meet Eli and it just happened to be a random moment where
Right.
Eli
They'd
was
have more-
sober,
Oh yeah, they would
be
chatting
like,
it up.
like this.
That's hilarious.
The fact that Eli's never sober doesn't help.
It's good. I didn't catch the 9. That's awesome. Okay, now we smash cut to dinner at the Van Aldens.
Oh my God! This Craig Lindsay
Scene of the week.
had a great quote where he called it, "Who knew that this was going to be Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf's moment?"
Right,
where
right.
the dinner was the most ridiculous.
That's the
I think
flatbread.
this is a spin-off sitcom.
Oh,
This
for
is
sure.
totally a
Yeah.
spin-off sitcom.
This
It'd be great.
no one. And I said it before, I think, but no one does angry, frustrated, comedically like Michael Shannon.
Oh yeah, Nelson
It's
Van
amazing.
Alden.
Michael Shannon might be one of the most
But that's what
underrated
is
actors
so
on the planet.
hilarious is that the wife is frustrated, the children are frustrating. The worst thing that could possibly happen, you find out that your guest at dinner has just slept with your wife, and at the end of the day, he's still trying to figure out how to make a buck with this guy. I mean, it's
So-
unbelievable.
Love it.
Michelle, you'll appreciate this a little bit. So we get a scene of, I think before the scene even we see anything, sort of fading in from black, you hear the kid playing the recorder.
Yes.
In
My husband.
my wife's family, the recorder holds a special place
in
Right.
hell.
because my mother-in-law was a music teacher, and all the kids have a musical background in some way when they were little.
So they're
And there was always recorders everywhere. There's a giant recorder in the house.
Yeah.
Recorder. So when this happened, my life exploded. It was ridiculous.
love it.
Allison was all over it.
Joel actually isolated. My husband also
She was laughing
isolated
her ass
that
off.
quote and just said,
Right.
Chester, that would.
It would sound so much better if you were playing it
Further away.
Chester, that would sound
Much better further away.
much further away.
That was an awesome.
That was amazing.
passionate
Then
episode.
we get Eli and Van Alden discussing Luciano, recognizing Van Alden, and Capone's potential reaction. And Van Alden says, obviously, Eli, you'll be implicated too. We're both
Right,
gonna
we're
get
in
killed.
this
We're in it.
together.
We got to figure this out. Then I'm going to say, quote of the episode comes up. Or
Of the
sub scene of the episode comes in. Van Alden looking menacing and in all his Van Alden glory, sort of looking past the camera, like he gets really angry and sort of morose and like, I refuse to be ruled by fear. And immediately his wife chimes in, husband. He goes, yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
And snaps to in 2
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
I refuse to be ruled by fear. And all of a
That
sudden,
was-
he's off, kowtowing to his.
I actually
Loved it.
paused the show at
exactly
that
what it
moment and laughed. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got to rewind and watch that one
We
more time.
rewound it and watched it 5 times.
'Cause it was so incredibly prolific.
What's his wife's name? I can never remember.
Secret.
Secret.
Yes,
Secret.
yes, secret.
For my purposes, I call her Ingrid because I could not remember her name.
Ingrid's close enough.
The old Norwegian nanny.
Yes. So we're at dinner. I'm comfortable. We talked about this.
That's the
Ingrid
flatbread.
is hitting on Eli a little bit in front of everybody.
Yeah, very weird.
She's done with Van Alden. She's
Yeah, she said enough.
And she's
done.
furious with Eli, which you have to wonder, why did this woman give a shit about Eli?
I know.
If it's not to hurt her husband, that I understand. If it was just sort of like
Yeah.
to hurt him, but it wasn't. It was obviously like
There was-
she seemed miffed that Eli would bring his wife there.
Yeah.
But I thought earlier in the episode, Eli told June that, well, we're not going to the restaurant, the Chop House. My partner's wife invited us for dinner.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it was
I think it was
pre-planned
totally
by
set
her.
up.
Right.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
totally
she set it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, and I could see in the context of that time, the Nelson just saying, "Okay, they're coming to dinner."
Sigrid was
That's
just
the
like
right
laying
thing to
down,
do.
like,
No, I think this was pre-planned. I think it was a moment where Sigrid was going to blow the lid off of all this. She's had enough. She can't stand the kids.
I love how,
Can't stand
how
her
they
life.
told the children too that
roof
their
leaks.
mother was a ballerina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother was a
Not batshit crazy Lucy.
Yeah.
My mother was a ballerina. I like that line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think this was totally set up by her,
Yeah.
and she's just looking for a reason to blow things up.
Oh, she is so out there, man. I love it.
Eli's-
Mission accomplished.
Eli sees the photo. He remembers having sex with Sigrid.
The song
I wrote
came on in the
Ingrid.
background.
The song. And then the Prohibition's, what's his name? The Proby spy in Capone's gang comes in.
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo. God, and he takes them away. He takes away Van Alden and Eli, and they're in the office, and Van Alden's just shooting daggers at his eyes at Eli. For this
Oh
whole-
yeah, that's what I thought was so funny.
Yeah.
Especially when they're in the interrogation room. They had just come from what would be in any other person the most polarizing thing that can happen, and they were basically like Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
have a
dragged
drink.
out together, and yeah.
But I think we also need to give a nod to the poster being the King of Norway, which ties in with the
right.
episode.
Right. And that was the impetus for the flashback.
All right. So at the FBI office, Eli's complaining or just trying to tell Van Alden, I've got it worse than you. And Eli says, my life is a fucking shipwreck. And Van Alden goes, well, land ho.
Land ho.
Another great one.
Land
Another
fucking
great
ho.
Yeah, that he always gets the funniest lines. I think my boss
He's making a
doesn't like
play.
me.
He's trying to get in front of Chalky for my favorite character. He's making an effort.
Making a good effort. I loved how he, used the old, it was an accident, and
It was
he
a
goes
mistake.
through the mistake.
Yeah.
Kind of like a guy gets his head caught
In a vice.
In a vice.
It was all the things
metaphor.
that he had done.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I wasn't wrong about that.
No,
You mean like the mistake when they, and he described like the time when he killed, what's his name, the Irish guy with the floral shop?
the floral shop and O'Banion.
O'Banion, yeah.
The explosion, where there's,
Good God.
innocent observers who get taken out.
Oh,
because
he's
of
a
it.
menace to society, no doubt.
I think, Mickey Doyle has always been right at the top of my list of favorite characters because he's so annoying, and there are so many leaders in this category of best character within the show.
Yeah.
But I think we may find over these last 3 episodes that Nelson becomes.
I think there's a sleeper in our
sleeper?
character.
Do we need to get to that at the end, or do you want to go?
No. I think
We're freeform.
we're not there yet, but I think Margaret is going to make a
no
play
doubt.
for best character. She's
And that's-
not there yet, but she's
She's certainly putting forth an effort.
she's
Let
in
me
the
know
starting
when
block.
we
She's
dive
about to
into
go.
Margaret.
Well, let's talk about that scene.
Well, hang on.
All right, we got to go backwards.
Plot
You
wise,
can't move him forward. Awesome.
I gotta just go through my
He's got to go
progressions here.
through
You know you
progressions,
can't.
yeah. Reads.
So the FBI know about their past murders. They're trying to get them to cooperate. They need to go get Capone's ledger tonight because they know he's moving to Cicero at any moment. And we see a little reveal in the closet with the accountant tied up in the closet with
the
Multiple-
leeches.
all over his face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a little.
That was
there.
creepy.
Yeah.
The next one in order, we don't have to go there, but would be Jillian. This
Right.
is a quick little one.
Right.
I'm disinterested.
Yeah.
Oh no, this
I don't-
intrigues me more and more as the season goes on.
I'm disinterested.
Well, it's good. Something is going to happen.
Yeah, something has to happen with this.
So this friend
They're
of
not
mine.
spending-
Of course, something's going.
I know, but something intricate with the end.
No. Tim, you're right.
on the-
This is
why
going
are
to
they
play
spending
in.
so much time
Yeah,
on
this
it?
is
Right,
not an
right.
isolated, siloed story.
No, it's not siloed, but I'm disinterested.
On its face, it's an obvious, corrupt sort of thorium.
Oh, it's up the
thing.
Francis Farmer.
Right.
You
Yes.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's something going on there.
But
So,
Charlotte, this crazy
Yeah.
woman, comes in and says, "Protect your furs," and then
Right.
gives her the ad for
Fifth
storage.
Avenue.
It's fur storage,
It's for
though.
right at Saks.
It's
At
Saks.
Saks.
And it's got something to do with Nucky because when she went down with the what shall we call her warden
Yeah.
before she was looking at furs down there. Something is going on with that.
Right.
But holy shnikes, what was that incision?
So
I mean,
that's what I was going to ask. Did I miss what could that
now
have
that
been?
doctor believes that the crazy is
It's
in
in
you
your
physically,
cells.
and he believes
You
it's in
have
the
to-
uterus because women are.
I thought that was too high for the uterus, though. I'm like, what are they cutting out? I missed
Well,
that's a
he
whole-
might be one of those
they're
hack
just-
doctors.
No,
right?
but that to me that was
in the 1930s. Maybe that was fine.
Maybe they made the incision up there. I mean, it might have made sense to them then. I mean,
Yeah.
those incisions.
But you
are
gotta
bikini
wonder
women.
when. I mean, she's obviously next
Right.
because he
Yes,
made this long,
absolutely.
impassioned speech about the temporary insanity and how he's got to get the crazy out of her. But
So-
she's got to get out of here, and she better figure out a plan B.
She's getting out. I mean, I think that goes without saying. No,
Jillian meets with the doctor, Dr. Cotton. That's a creepy doctor name.
Yes,
Exactly.
it is. Especially, one that's going to.
She basically says, I made a full recovery. I'm cured. Let me out of here.
Let me out.
He says, no, it's in your cells. We got to cure you. How do you, whatever. And then he says, how do you, she says, I made a full recovery. Doctor says, how do you know what you are? Again, a callback to that identity thing.
Yes.
In a almost verbatim discussion of identity. I love that one. So now we get to...
And speaking of Dr. Cotton, and usually we end with this, but
Yeah.
I think he was the crazy of the week.
He was
Oh,
the
yeah.
creep of the week.
Cotton.
That is
Creep of the
a-
week.
Definitely
Is
true.
it creep of the week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that, Tim. We're going to award that.
Well,
right here,
I mean, we
right
can
now.
preemptively strike on that. He's got it hands
There's
down.
no...
He's got it.
There's no
There's
number two.
There's nobody else in the picture, right?
No.
No, I would definitely agree with that statement.
Let's jump to Carolyn Rothstein and Margaret.
I will, before we move off of Jillian, I have to give full credit to this Rolling Stone writer, Sean Collins.
Wow, this is research heavy, this episode.
Man, I am really feeling underprepared.
No, but I wrote that down.
I bring color commentary.
See, I don't care what anybody else says about it. I care what we say about it.
No, but I mean, I read these
kidding.
recaps because they spark a lot in myself,
Yeah.
and I do have to say that he gave a lot of love to Jillian in his article, and he basically called her this episode's emotional heart.
Oh, that's
But she said,
No.
no, but his logic was that, her story is twisted and tragic, but it's all because of these political power players that, I mean, it has been revealed that the shit person that she is
She was
100% built.
Yeah,
Exactly.
she was
course.
built to be
that
this
way.
mess.
Now,
Of course.
obviously, we've known that in bits and pieces all along, but I mean, it was revealed in this episode that she just got fucked at every corner. All the
every
bad
corner.
she did in the world, granted, but
course.
she was built that way. That's for sure.
And I don't disagree with
And I've
that.
been saying
But
that
the
since
emotional
day one.
heart of the episode is a Rolling Stone writer trying to be a contrarian, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, moving on.
Just my thought,
Not the Kennedys?
not the Kennedys.
Don't even start.
I mean, we didn't even get Joe this week.
I know.
Era.
Joe.
We get a little...
We get a little,
Joe.
yeah.
We
We
get a
don't
little
get
Joe.
enough for me to
Okay.
go off.
Carolyn Rothstein and Margaret.
I have to say that might have been my favorite scene.
I think it might have been mine,
Yes.
too.
That's without
pretty good.
question.
When the lawyer
moment of the
objects
show.
to her parameters with the check,
No.
Carolyn,
basically-
and she basically says, no, this is the only deal. Carolyn doesn't bat an eye. She's been down this road before, and she just says, oh, I understand. Point well taken. We'll be leaving now. And I thought that was beautiful because the lawyers were both sitting there going, holy shit. And she was like, no, you don't understand what this is about. We got
You
this
and I,
covered.
right.
If she gives me a check, I know she's good for it.
Yeah.
These women know.
She is
They know
not-
who they are.
They
Yeah.
know who they are.
They've
They know
already
who they've
played
been
their
married to.
cards.
Yes.
So in that regard, I will say when we're talking about our quality kills, I actually vote for Margaret because
Wait.
she
Quality
didn't-
kill?
She didn't kill anybody, but she may as well have. So when I was in college, I wrote a thesis
I like that.
paper on The Godfather, right?
Yes, I remember.
We talked about this last episode.
Right.
And
And,
it worked.
Godfather 3 is universally, reported as the one several people hate. I actually like the show, not in the same neighborhood as number 2 and number 1, but I did like number 3.
It's horrific.
It's not horrific. I actually liked it. But
Sophia.
one of the reviews that I read about, I can't remember whose review it was, but one of the reviews I read about Godfather 3 at the time basically said they should have called it The Godmother because Talia Shire emerges as
She was pivotal.
She was,
Yeah,
and
sure.
when he has his diabetic coma and he comes in and she says to Garcia, "Just do it, just do it." And she was just like, making the command. Well, I feel like Margaret is becoming the godmother.
Oh, yeah.
And if anybody is going to become the Don in this story, she has got it down.
Yeah.
She is head and shoulders above Nucky in this regard as a gangster, and she emerges as the true and the she's the undisputed gangster in the
She's
story.
a gangster now.
Back to my identity thing. Her identity is switched.
Oh,
She's now
completely.
super strong. She is the rock that no one can fuck with now. Even Nucky's like, in the last episode, he's like, you're on your own.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I would actually say it in a different way, which is she has finally come to embrace her true nature.
Yeah, sure.
And let's go back to, and I don't want to do this too much in this, but let's go back to that 4th episode.
Yeah.
Because one of the
Might
things
as
that
well.
we missed with the podcast being crashed is that pivotal scene of Nucky and Margaret
Oh, it's such
in
a
the Italian
pivotal
restaurant.
episode.
Yeah.
The wine
And
and the drunk.
when they really come to
profanity.
grips with, not only are they coming to grips with who the other person is, they're coming to grips with who they are.
Right.
They
Right.
take
And
their
that's
armor
key.
off and they just they're just there.
It's
And
time
actually,
to talk real.
now that you mention it, I mean, that moment between Nucky and Margaret in the episode prior, the moment between Van Alden and Eli, and the moment between Nucky and Chalky are all very similar.
They are.
Yeah.
It was all very like, all right,
Yeah.
you hurt me, I hurt you, we're done with this. We've got bigger fish to fry. Let's get in this together, and let's
We're
move
stronger
forward.
together than we are apart.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's very interesting how those three things, relationships, are kind of all solidifying.
But interestingly, I think in episode 4 and in episode 5, the most pivotal scenes in each episode involve Margaret. Right?
Yeah.
well,
I
she's
think
making a lot of offers that
The
people
scene
can't
from,
refuse.
scene from the Italian restaurant, not to quote
Right.
Billy Joel, 'cause I hate Billy Joel, but the scene from the Italian restaurant and the scene with the lawyers are probably the two most
Brilliant.
powerful
Brilliant.
segments of both episodes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there were a lot of powerful segments in this episode. I mean, there
This
were
whole
mass
episode
shootings. There
is
were
packed wall to
packed
wall.
with
So at the end of this
highlights.
Well,
scene,
yeah.
she talks to the lawyer,
boss.
the new bank.
The
Right.
bank
Which
book.
I thought
Our new manager.
It was a
Yeah.
very quiet scene that is like pivotal
Yeah.
to the whole story, right?
Love
because
that.
He's
She
so
says
grateful
you're
that
going to
nothing-
open an account,
Well,
a
she
phony
made him an
account,
offer. He can't refuse.
so that my husband Nucky can
Short
stock of the Mayflower Grain Corporation, Kennedy, the one that Kennedy was
Right.
on the board
Yes.
of or
Yes.
in charge of.
Yes.
What do we think of that?
I love it.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, this guy is so grateful that Margaret worked this out because he was afraid that this lawyer was going to
Well,
sue him.
and
when
first of
she
all-
came in and basically paid the guy off and handled it, the guy said, "Well, what can I do
Right,
now?"
right,
and
right,
she said,
right.
"Well, now here's what you're going to do."
Right.
Well, and it wasn't, and it isn't even so much as he would do anything for her. He already knows he's already
Oh yeah,
He's in.
he's down a road that he can't get
can't
back.
get
back.
Right?
Yeah.
So now he has. It's not.
It's
what
like,
can
how am I
I do
gonna
for
pay
you?
the
It's
devil on
like,
his neck deep
what
in
do
it.
I have to do?
Right.
for you?
I
Is more the
get
question.
that for sure. Yeah.
So I think this is where Margaret starts exercising some of the power that she's
The
picked up,
godmother.
some of the knowledge that she's picked
But
up.
specifically about shorting the stock of the Mayflower Grain.
I love that part of it.
Oh, brilliant.
What does that mean? Does that mean that Nucky has information that will help him make money on this proposition? Does it mean he's going to make a move that's going to obviously affect that, and that's where he makes his money and fucks with Kennedy? Is it?
It's either
what's
a
gonna
move to
happen there?
crash something for
Right.
Kennedy, or it's a move to make money.
I think
on
it's
the
going to
fly.
be their payday.
He's betting against him, but is Bacardi involved in that? or
I
not?
actually think this is purely emotional.
Oh, I don't know.
It's
about
not
that.
even. I mean, Nucky wants to get paid, but Margaret
but
is
no, but-
taking.
but- okay,
no,
look,
she knows that
He doesn't
No.
do anything on emotion.
Slow down,
Nucky
though.
is emasculated by Joe Kennedy. He's got a man
Fine.
crush, and this is emotional for him.
Okay, but he's betting that Joe's going to fail. He's betting that the Mayflower Grain Company is going to
fail.
go down in flames. He doesn't do that by chance. He's not just betting that's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Does he have insider information about it, or is he going to act against it?
Is he going to act on it?
Well, let's ask the banker. It was my impression he was just going to make it happen by short.
Yeah, I don't think he knows anything. I don't think he has any insight.
Like, do they have a
information.
shipment
No,
of
but he
something
can
coming in?
manipulate
And
that they can
trades.
correct?
yeah.
Like, look at how rich Tim is. How do you think he got this way?
Does he? Okay.
Kennedy.
Speaking
Let
of which,
me float
keeping
out
his
this.
Rolex that he took out.
This is not what happened, but let's go down this road for a second. Nucky knows his relationship with Bacardi is fucked. Or
Totally.
potentially fucked.
No,
Yeah.
it's done.
Right?
That's done.
He knows that shit.
He knows that
Oh,
Kennedy wanted to get in with Bacardi. Does he now sweet talk Kennedy into going in with Bacardi, knowing that he can't make money in that
He
deal
can
because they're leaving to Puerto Rico?
He can totally force his hand. I think the one thing that we haven't talked about yet
Good
is that there,
insight,
hands-
Brendan.
there could be a forced
He's
hand
going to
here.
make them get fucked, and he makes money on the deal.
Right.
There could be a forced
I
hand
didn't make
play.
the connection with
Yeah.
Bacardi.
There could be a forced
Now,
hand.
that said, Bacardi
But
did
that
well.
way he can
and
hedge his
who knows?
bets coming and going.
Historically, I don't know
Bacardi and
what's
Kennedy, right?
If Kennedy doesn't go with him, he can play that.
I had
hand.
thought Kennedy was done. I thought we weren't going to
I
see
don't
him
think-
anymore.
Oh, I think it's emotional now. I think it's all.
Facts.
It's almost revenge. It's vengeful.
Oh yeah, it's vengeful.
I don't even think.
He doesn't-
I think
yeah.
it's beyond making money. I think it's vengeful.
Well, of course, but I'm just saying.
But it's always about making money with Nucky. There's no just vengeance for the sake of vengeance.
It might
There's
be.
always a
there
money
might
play.
be with this one. He saw Margaret. I don't know. I think he's.
That would be a first, right? For Nucky, has he ever done anything that didn't involve money? Has he ever done anything for vengeance? Other than maybe when he burned the house down that he grew up in season 2.
We talked about last podcast, or the podcast before, episode before. Nucky is always looking 3 steps ahead. So
Always.
he's not doing this just thinking,
He's not doing this
fuck,
out
I'm
of
all bet
vengeance.
against him.
Yeah.
He's going to make
There's
something
something.
happen.
There's
Okay.
something there.
So,
Okay.
Good point.
back to the one thing that Nucky did for Chalky is he treats him as a friend. He gives him money before he leaves.
Oh, Chalky. Yes.
Yeah, Chalky.
Yes. And Chalky's like, when did you become this
I know.
nice
He's
guy
shocked.
or optimistic or whatever the term he
Right.
was? And that was
Yeah, he's like, I didn't do anything for you.
Right.
What's this for?
What's-
well,
yeah,
I'm
what-
just giving a...
This is between friends, he said. This is between friends. And he took the money. He went straight over to Narcisse's place, which that guy is such a goddamn creepy, right?
Who?
He's not even in the show.
Libya.
But the idea of those whorehouses just skeeves me out. So
Well, there's whorehouses everywhere in the 20s.
Every character in this show has a whorehouse.
I know, but not one that's from the...
Libyans.
Oh, Libyans. All right.
so Nucky
Stop
going to
it.
see Torio.
Shakes here.
Yeah. And here's the beauty of the podcast is we don't really play by the rules and by facts and history.
We don't let facts get in the
No.
way.
I don't think this happened. I don't think Torio was
don't
ever
think that
working either with Luciano at this point or against Capone effectively.
And the fact that he
never
was there with
happened.
Maranzano.
Maranzano.
I think there might have been a
I
tie.
think there's some time.
There's some time warping going
Yeah.
on.
I
I
guess,
agree.
but
So-
right now, I mean, even in the show, but I think historically, Torio is retired. I mean,
Right.
not even like pseudo-retired. Like he's gone.
Like in
He's
Florida.
barely even. You couldn't even find him. Yeah.
Well, in this storyline, he's brokering between Lansky and
Yeah,
Lucky
see?
and Maranzano.
I had a problem.
But I mean, come on, that was like a classic. He's sitting there in the restaurant.
Oh, it was obvious.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you knew
You
that.
know, the
was coming.
shoot up comes in, and then Nucky with the phone call was brilliant because now
I was
we'll
bummed
be
about
sorry.
Torio. I like the whole
Yeah,
kind of like the old school Nucky Torio.
yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, with
Crossed him.
Torrio. I mean, Torrio in reality didn't die until 1957, so I don't see him being inactive in
He
1930.
didn't die until 1957.
But he like escaped to
Jesus
Florida. Like,
Christ,
he
he must have
wasn't
been on
like
his deathbed for fucking...
he was not against Capone because he brought Capone in.
No, Capone was his boy, right? I mean,
Yes, he was.
The move to
was his
Chicago.
boy. That's
Okay,
how that
all right,
happened.
all right.
Well, he lived to be in his 90s then.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he
No.
seemed to be 70 in 1934.
He
lived
was
to
not.
Like my grandpa, he looked 70 when he was 42.
1882 to 1932 is 50, right? So that's where we're at. So he's
Torrio
50.
seems older than that.
But
All right. So
He does.
Torrio sets up this meeting basically between Maranzano and Nucky.
Nucky.
Torrio even says Maranzano is a man of reason, so I want you to go meet with him and figure this thing out with Luciano.
he played it brilliantly.
Right.
He did.
But, I mean, it was obvious when it happened what had happened, and Nucky didn't let that moment pass. And those boys are going to be sorry.
They go meet at the bar, and Nucky asks Maranzano, "When are you getting rid of Luciano?"
Yes.
And basically he says, "I'm not. I only work with Italians, except
Right.
for you. You're like Marta or something like that.
Yeah, something with the Romans.
Like you're sort of favored nations.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
he busts him back on,
yeah.
Did
You're
wasn't
talking
Caesar?
to a room of 100% Irish people, so
Yeah.
I don't even know what.
It ain't working.
definitely.
So
None of us. We're all,
and then
yeah.
and then so Nucky says Luciano's going to come for me again, and then he's going to go for you. So we got to get rid of
we
this
gotta
guy.
figure this out,
I don't know if
right.
you know how bad this guy is, but he's killing both of us. And then,
Yeah, meanwhile, the whole time he's
right.
Yeah.
And then the Tommy gun attack. They take down. They basically just mow down the entire bar.
I know, I felt
The only
terrible.
kills of the week?
No kills.
Yeah.
Was there a kill?
Well, the
No.
bartender
Yes, there
looked
were some
bartender.
kills of the week.
The bartender looked like he was.
And didn't Capone
What
have
do
a,
you
have a
think
moment?
Maranzano was killed? It's unclear.
I believe that
I-
he was.
I think he must have been.
I believe that he was.
Well, he never came back in this episode, so yeah, let's assume.
But
he
you
was.
never
He didn't have protection.
Yeah.
Right, because
Nucky did.
we had the big Cuban taking care of Nucky.
Do we
So-
know his name?
No, we just call
The
him the
Cuban.
big Cuban.
We call him the
Or the
Cuban.
Cuban,
Yeah.
for sure.
We show inappropriate.
The ear collector.
I was calling him the Cube, but
Cube. Gleaming the cube.
He's
Okay.
packing the chorizo.
What?
That was. Look,
That might be the most derogatory thing I've
That was
ever
the
heard you
bourbon
say.
talking.
I
That
know.
is
I
saying
did that for the
something
benefit
from
of our
Michael
bartender
Wilcox.
Spider over there, who is playing off of this.
Spider.
Spider, don't egg me on because you know I will follow.
For the love of Pete.
it's my line.
All right.
Pete, who is Pete? Anyway?
I say that all the time. My boss cracks up. She's like, "Who's Pete?"
Who the hell is Pete?
We always say Jesus.
So,
Okay, edit that out.
yeah,
The
edit,
the
Seriously.
chorizo and all.
click. Then Nucky, we talked about Nucky calls directly to Torrio, Luciano, and Lansky. He's still got blood on his face from the attack.
attacks, right?
And he knows that Torrio facilitated the attack. There's talk of on their end, they're talking about the syndicate.
Right.
The
They
Italian
even
syndicate. All those Italian guys. they talk
noted
about.
as the syndicate.
Right.
Right.
I'm just making a note.
No, it's okay.
I like these little names thrown in there every now and then.
Syndicate.
The outfit, the syndicate.
But
all these
Capone
guys.
brings that up too, and he says, "Well, Nucky, New Jersey, Atlantic City's not
Right.
Italian."
Right.
And they said, "Well, we're going to work that out." That was a couple episodes
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then, even when he's talking to Manzano, he basically says, "Yeah, I know you're not Italian, Nucky, but we're going to work that
Yeah,
out."
yeah. We'll figure it out. And so Nucky says in his strongest sort of "I'm going to kill everybody" move is "I will not rest until I see you all in your graves."
And
Yeah.
it's
I
and
thought
he's
that
talking
was
about
great.
he's talking about
Torrio,
Luciano,
Luciano,
Torrio,
and
and
Lansky.
Lansky.
And Lansky, yeah.
And I think he will.
Well,
I don't know about
we
that.
won't because
We know Meyer
No,
in our
that's-
Lansky.
case, those are real people.
We know Meyer Lansky outlives Nucky.
And we know that Lucky Luciano is a real person.
Then
So
They're
is
not
Meyer
gonna twist,
Lansky.
they won't twist dates. And
I don't think they'll twist.
generally
Real
keep the
people.
history
Nucky
pretty
is
good.
not a real person. He's inspired by a real
Right,
person.
right.
But he is not a real person.
But Meyer Lansky didn't die until 1983. So we know Meyer Lansky's going to live.
Was Meyer Lansky the inspiration for Hyman Roth?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Cuba.
Or 1982. 82 or 83, somewhere around there. He was
Wow.
only 5 feet tall, by the way. Another interesting note.
What was the actor's
He's small
name
in
who
the-
played? He's the
Yeah.
teacher, right? The famous acting teacher.
Oh.
Oh, not that guy who does that show.
No,
Lipton.
No, not James Lipton, but it would be.
no, he was the. No, he's not the Libyan.
Let's
either.
talk about the 1980s.
Everyone who's listening, just Google
Hyman
Google
Roth.
Hyman Roth and you'll
Hyman
figure it
Roth,
out.
yes.
We see Nucky call Roni in Cuba, and he learns of Sally's death.
Yeah,
Nucky wants names. He wants to blame somebody. He wants to kill somebody.
he has a moment of emotion,
Right.
and then a moment of resignation where he understands it was always going to end.
Yeah.
And in between, a drink.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
And he finds out no one's going to be blamed, and it just happened. The end.
Yeah, poor Sally.
No, but we knew it had to be that way, right? I mean,
Yes,
part
I
of
would
it-
agree.
And,
Of course.
and we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but the
I'm
fact
surprised
that
they even mentioned it in this episode. I thought they would have.
I thought they would
right
have
to them.
glanced over it too, and
Yeah.
they really did go back to it, and I'm not sure why. I mean, it was filler. and they
Isn't it
didn't need
partially disturbing how much we watch this show and realize how many of the things, particularly in this episode, are just plot points?
Yeah.
Like he had to have that scene in order to sort of resolve that.
You know, and that goes
No,
back
there's
to
a lot of
this
them.
goes
I know,
back to
I know.
the commitment by HBO, or the lack of commitment for season 5, where originally they were going to do 12 or 13 episodes, and they said no, you can do 8.
Now, the people involved with the show will tell a different tale, though.
What tale
Like?
is that?
Like, we all agreed we've run our course. We need to wrap this thing up.
We have money to make in other avenues.
I don't necessarily believe them, but the producers of the show are saying, yeah, we
I think they're playing nice for HBO.
Right.
I
Yeah,
think, I
the
think
show has got to be so expensive. The fucking sets are ridiculous.
well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely an
And
expensive
the
show.
sheer amount of people on the show. It's not like it's...
Yeah, an ensemble cast of
characters.
12.
Three
and it's not
people,
even
yeah.
their biggest show.
No,
It's
well, that's
crazy.
part of the problem,
Yeah.
Well,
right?
that is the
It
problem.
never became what they thought it was going to be because it didn't, for some reason, resonate with enough people. But
All right,
people
let's
are
hold that
dumb.
discussion for the
Post-
wrap up
Yeah.
episode. All right, I think we're back.
thanks for keeping us on track.
It's my job.
It is.
It's my
It
job.
is your job.
Someone's got to do it.
We're back to Chop.
We're back to Chalky in Harlem. He goes into one of Narcisse's brothels, actually the same one that was shot up by the Italians in last episode.
And how we got
Libby.
another...
Libyans.
Yeah, they got another
God.
brood. And they got another brood of...
They brought in the horse quick. Listen, here's the thing about the 20s and 30s.
Replacement.
There's no lack of whores.
There are
in
replacement
Harlem
whores
in
behind every
1930.
door.
You couldn't swing a cat without hitting
And
seven
hitting a
whores.
whore in 1932
Seven
Brooklyn.
heroin addicted.
1932 Harlem, you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a whore.
Let me hear your Billie Holiday.
Oh, I can't do Billy. I would love
Libyans.
Libyans. I can do Narcisse.
That is a little, yeah.
He enters the room, sees a kid.
I know.
Oh,
Moment of
yes.
truth.
Oh, yeah. The
Here we
surprise
go.
of the episode.
And then we see
There she
daughter
was.
Maitland come out of nowhere, who I thought was dead.
I thought she was dead too, and
We
she
all
looked
thought she
beautiful. Beautiful.
So,
Daughter's got a daughter.
Which we're huge fans of because she retweets us on Twitter. Thank
She
you.
does?
very
okay, excellent. Love
Do we know her name?
Daughter.
Daughter.
Daughter
much. We
Maitland?
do. We
She's a
can't
beautiful
remember it at
girl,
the moment.
whoever she is. She's beautiful.
Love her.
But I'm glad
Remember
she's
it is.
back in the scene because you have to wonder, is that Chalky's daughter?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it Narcissus?
Right.
It's
It could be either.
It's shocking.
Chalky's got two daughters.
My
It's
first,
Chalky's daughter.
Gotta be, right?
assumption was it was Chalky's,
Gotta
but
be.
you know what? It could be.
Because Chaucy.
Chaucy. That's a new one.
Because Chalky lost his.
First time for Chaucy.
Chaucy.
Seriously,
Not even
Chauncey.
Chauncey, but Chaucy.
Chaucy.
Why don't
Saucy.
we name our kid Chauncey? That would have been
Chauncey.
a good name.
It's got to be
It's a soft.
It's got to be Chalky's
Chauncey.
daughter
Yes.
because he lost his in
Yes.
in
Yes.
the
Yeah,
the
it's got to
shooting.
be Chalky.
Daughter's going to
Well,
give
Like good
Oh,
old
it
Richard
is.
Halfface.
It's going to give her a new daughter.
Oh,
Daughter's
God, I
good.
miss
Don't
Richard.
call me daughter.
Don't call me daughter.
All right,
First
two
Pearl Jam reference.
Recap.
1993.
quality kills. We only have the Tommy gun scene. We think right?
Yes.
I agree with
but
Michelle.
I'm going to go with Margaret because she just slays everyone she comes across. She
and we
fucking
have
laid
Halligan,
it
but we
down.
didn't see
Right,
the death
Halligan
of him,
was
so
good.
She
I like
laid
the
it
figurative.
down.
I like the figurative quality
Thank you,
kill.
Michael.
The quality kill of Margaret paying off Mrs. Rothstein, that's just missed.
And the boss. The stockbroker.
Yeah, she did
Yeah.
a 2-for-1.
She's
in that
gonna
episode.
nail
In
it
that
down.
Scene, she did a 2-for-1.
She owned it.
Yeah.
She owned it. She's come along.
We don't have that mayhem. And listen, we're gonna get
Creep of the week, we know Dr. Cotton.
without question.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
And
Thank you, Timmer, for bringing our
basically it.
attention.
So-
Tim.
Wrapping up my little identity theme thing, I have 6 people who had an identity crisis of some sort or revelation
metamorphosis?
in this episode. Nucky,
Oh, every episode.
Chalky, to some extent, very small, but Torio. 'Cause I think he turned on his whole
Well, I mean, he's
Capone.
he's
and
Capone.
Nucky.
Yeah, I think Torio was talked into something that he was never fully comfortable with.
Jillian.
and he paid the
Jillian
price.
for sure.
Jillian sort of is coming back. Margaret,
For sure.
biggest,
Yes.
probably. And Eli / Ingrid. Because they can't, or he can't remember that night.
Singrid.
I'm calling her Ingrid for now.
Sings good.
Dropping the ass.
I wrote down Ingrid, so.
I can't disagree with any of those. My favorite play of the week had to be Margaret, though.
Yeah.
Even though, and I've never been, as you guys
I
know,
know you
I've
haven't.
never been an apologist for
No, I
Margaret.
like her.
I've always thought that character was too slow for development.
It was
and,
very
and
slow.
It was,
The
it was
last-
way too deliberately played out.
The last 2
I think
seasons, she was.
she's
gold.
been-
That actress is
Cataclysmic.
phenomenal, but she is going to have to bring it in these next 3 episodes
I
in order to really
think we're
nail
going to
it.
see, and I don't want to finish up our recap, and then we'll get into our foreshadowing.
I have some questions too.
Questions. Good.
Q&A?
Questions. Go ahead.
Fire them up.
So if Eli is on his own out there in Chicago, Cicero, whatever, what is going on with Will? So this entire season we have debated is Will going to work for the state's attorney as a plant for Nucky? Is
Totally.
Will
Has to.
going to work at the state's attorney office because he's fueled by his hatred for
No.
Nucky? No, we have
a plant.
we've guessed both things.
He's a total plan.
But he has never expressed the hatred for Nucky, really.
Yeah,
He
but
hasn't.
first of all, that character
Nucky's-
is fucked up.
Nucky
That
is-
is one of the most fucked up people I've seen.
Nucky's
on the
done
show.
nothing but help him his entire life.
Exactly.
He's
Got
a-
him out of trouble in Philly.
He'll be a
Nucky has
plan.
also caused his father to go to jail.
Oh, well, Nucky's
Caused his father to abandon
Who
the
he never
family.
really respected.
His father
though.
tried to kill Nucky. So I think,
But as
Nucky
as
kinda
Brendan
had a
always
little bit of-
says, Nucky's always thinking 3.
yeah.
Will
3
is,
steps
I will
ahead.
promise this, if we have resolution on this before this year,
We
this-
will. We have to, or I will
No, but
kill.
we
I
might
will-
not get any resolution on Will, but
Terrence
if we
winning.
do, I guarantee you there's going to be a play at some point where Will does something that helps Uncle Nucky.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean, there's no other
absolutely.
reason to have
So
him
he
in
is
state's
totally
attorney,
a plant.
or whatever they call it. in
There's
New
no
York,
question
district
he's a
attorney.
plant.
All right, let's get
I'm Northern
derailed here.
Wait, what were your questions?
Yeah, question.
My question was, if Eli is,
Oh, all right.
what is the
The
situation
kid,
with
I don't
Will?
know.
The kid with Will. I
You
think
seem
he's
disinterested
I think
in my
Yeah.
question.
no, I think he's
I
a
don't
plant.
care about Will.
Will's,
I think
a
he's
plan,
next.
Will's a plan for Nucky, and we'll.
That's all there is
It'll
to
be a payoff for Nucky.
I hope it doesn't come back. There's only 3 episodes.
Remember,
I'm
3
about
steps ahead.
Next.
Will's plan. Okay, next question. Any?
Timmer, do you have any final thoughts?
Oh, I thought we were talking Q&A.
Well,
No, we're done with Q&A.
It's kind of both.
We're done Q&A.
All
Final
over the
thoughts.
place.
I love the fact that Chalky's going to kill Narcisse.
Yes.
Why?
I like the
That's
Chalky.
gonna
I
happen
like
next
the
episode.
Chalky Nucky reunion.
Yeah.
I like the Eli Van Alden.
Oh,
They're gonna rock it
epic.
next week. With
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
gonna. It's gonna be a fuck up.
It's so
gonna be
awkward.
a fuck up.
Yeah.
But
It's so
it's gonna be
awkward.
enjoyable.
It's so
That's for
awkward
sure.
that it's like
They can't do
can't
anything
wait
right.
for yeah.
They can't even
Well,
make
Eli-
dinner.
The gang that couldn't shoot straight. That's
Yeah.
that's Van Alden.
I like that. I like that.
The
Yeah.
gang that couldn't shoot straight.
Yeah.
Well, Van Alden has no problem getting it done. It's Eli.
Right.
No, but Van Alden,
No,
everywhere
no,
he
no.
turns
Individually, they're okay. Together
they're
they're
a
a fucking
mess.
mess.
Yes.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like these two are solidified together now, and they're too deep into it with each other.
No, they can't get away from
They
each other
can't get
now.
away.
So what do we see happening?
We have to see how Jillian's gonna come out in the next few
Michael could
episodes.
care less
That
about
whole
Jillian, but
snooze
Michael,
fest.
mark my words.
I know,
Let's
but
mark it down. Neo, so it is written, so it is
They're
done.
not spending this much time on Gretchen Mall's character without her.
I know, but
some
the
intricate part of-
denouement for Gretchen Mall was when she jacked the guy with heroin and drowned him in the tub.
or did
They
her,
should have
or
just
did
got
her,
rid
or
of
did
her
her son.
or did
Yeah.
her son.
Yeah, that
At
was
that
good.
point, it was game
All
over.
right.
Right?
Well-
You can't get much better than that. I mean, how do you top
I
that?
feel the tension building. Something is
She was creep of the series.
serious, really.
For a while.
She was.
She may still be.
At least for the season, a couple
Yeah.
of seasons.
No, she was creep of the season. Except the only season she didn't get creep of the season, in our estimation, was the
Is
Jif.
this, and,
Was-
well,
no,
this,
Jif.
Well,
she's
Jif.
not creep of the season this season.
Not yet, but there's
No,
still
but in
time.
previous,
Yeah.
that
Right.
one
Oh,
But in
season,
previous
she
seasons,
creep
she
of
was
the
Oh,
season.
the only one she
Creep of
wasn't.
the series.
The only
creep of
one
the
she
series.
wasn't was because
Was
of
Jif.
Jip.
And
And
Jip,
actually, you know, if anything ever comes of this podcast, I hope that Jip, what's his name?
Jimmy Carnival.
Yeah,
Carnival.
Bobby
Bobby Carnival.
Bobby.
God bless you.
I hope he hears this because we talk about how much we love him.
Yeah.
So
We love him.
he's amazing.
He's a great actor.
He is a great actor.
Love you, Bobby.
He needs to go on to bigger and better things.
He is. He's going to. How could he not? He's
No,
a
I know,
talent
but I'm-
that is unsurpassed.
He already has. I mean, he's done.
This
a lot.
guy is awesome. I can't wait to see what he's going to do.
So next
Probably
week,
the best actor we've seen. And Jimmy Dormady.
Jimmy was good too.
We know. It's hinted at that there's a showdown between Narcisse and Chalky in the
yes.
next episode.
That's what I'm chomping at the bit for.
I don't have faith that it'll be a satisfying end in that episode.
In this
I think it's going to
episode.
carry over one more.
I don't think we're going to get any resolution on Narcisse and Chalky in the next episode. I think that's maybe 7, but more than likely 8. I think 8 is going to be. We're going to have to
Definitely
do
won't be
a
next.
7-hour.
Three left.
We're going to have to do a 7-hour podcast on episode 8 because it's going to be.
This thing we could do another
Chocolate.
hour on.
No, well, we totally can. Yeah, without question.
No, we're wrapping it up. Timur, final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Give us some foreshadowing. What do you
Some
see
predictions for the future. How's this going to roll? How's it going to end? We've enjoyed your.
happening? What's going to happen to your
insights.
Rolex?
Well, I think one of the biggest I don't know if it's foreshadowing, but that young kid is going to be Tommy Darmody.
All right,
You really
I like
think
that.
so?
I like it.
I like the definitive.
I do.
That's good.
Statement.
There's,
I disagree,
I mean,
but that's good.
to bring up a brand new character, young. I think he would be a little bit young, but they may stretch his age. But it's got to be Tommy. It's got to be.
You know, it is interesting
And
to think
he's
that we
gonna
haven't
get-
heard from that.
No, we haven't heard from the Wisconsin set since the offing of Richard, right?
Right.
I mean, we have not heard from Wisconsin since
but
then.
ostensibly,
wait.
why would we?
For obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
why are we
would
surprised?
we? Yeah, why would we?
There's
right? But
87 storylines in this one episode.
And the
We got-
show has too many
We have
goddamn
no time for that bullshit.
I'm just figuring
To be
out
honest.
which gangsters.
but you know
belong
what
to
I've
which-
said all along is that because it's only 8 episodes, they're going to wrap all this shit in a bow for us, and they're
Right.
going to hand it to us
Right.
like a
All right,
box of
well,
chocolates.
all right. So this is the first time we've had Tim here, and we've got a lot going on here.
We do.
You're going to come back for the finale.
I am.
Who's going to be there next Wednesday for us?
Well, TBD. It's you and me, and
I have to go
Is
away
Allison around?
for next week.
no, it's you and me for sure, and maybe
Joel
Tim.
can do it.
Maybe Tim, maybe Joel,
Maybe
maybe both
Joel,
of you
if you wanna go.
guys are
Well-
interested.
Huh?
How does he go if you're
I
out
can't.
of town?
I have
Well, you have to do it here.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
I have an Ottava to dinner that night. Actually.
Right, so maybe it's us.
I can't. The 15th.
Maybe
It's
a
the 15th,
twofer.
right?
That's
We're
fine.
going to go.
Gonna
It could
cut
be
me
Brendan
out.
and I going head to head.
It may be an hour of anti-Kennedy discussion.
I may have to send my notes to you too.
Please do.
right.
You know what?
No.
Actually, do that.
Let me get
Maybe
back to
you can
this.
put me on speakerphone.
Tim,
No.
so far,
Speakerphone.
Yes.
whole series so far, who's your favorite character?
Chip.
Overall,
Oh.
Jip, okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
I
Might
have
be
to
mine
say
too.
Okay.
Might. I know I've said.
Who's your least favorite character? Of the main ones?
I know yours. Don't
Uh,
say it. Don't say it.
Yeah.
You seen a pie on any windowsill?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
he
it.
runs Mickey Doyle. I mean, I appreciate his goofiness, but he's the most annoying for sure.
Yeah, he's a lackey. I mean,
He is definitely a lackey, but he's my favorite.
Least.
I'm not sure who my least one is. My least one is...
I think reevaluating it for me,
I know who your
my
least
least favorite character is Jill.
I thought you'd say Narcisse.
And Narcisse running a close second on that.
Jillian
Libyan.
can't be your
The
least.
Libyan. I can't believe
Libyans.
The Libyans.
It's got to be Mickey Doyle. It's the only one that pops into my head quick. So.
God,
Yeah.
there's so many.
Well,
Dislike.
we can hold this for later. But I was
Colonel.
I love the Dabney Coleman Commodore, but I can't
Commodore.
fucking stand this current flashback.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
I thought that was interesting when they had that scene with Losky and the young Nucky and the Commodore, and that other gentleman was the young version of the older guy who busted
Uncle
Jillian.
Jew?
Is that what his...
Junior. Uncle Junior.
I just didn't remember his name. But he was the one
I
who busted
remember
Jillian
Dominic
on the
Chinese.
stairwell.
Yes.
Dominic Chinese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uncle Jew from
Uncle Jew.
Sopranos.
Uncle June.
Never saw The Sopranos.
What?
You keep saying Losky. I
How
think
did that
the
happen?
sheriff's name is...
Am I saying Lance?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. I am saying Losky.
Okay, that's fine.
You're
I'm
right.
getting confused.
It is Lindsay.
I think my
because that
least
episode last-
favorite character is Flashback.
Flashback.
Oh,
entire-
of course,
just there.
Of course. Of course.
Atlantic City Flashback is my least favorite character.
I think Jillian in season 5 is my least favorite.
Oh, I love her. I mean, she's
And
horrible, but
my
I love
least
her.
favorite individual character, like in a given segment, is got to be Narcisse. Still, I think that's a useless character that needs to be off.
I still think they have to resolve him working for the Fed.
Yeah.
Because that's how they ended last season. And I know 7 years have passed, but they haven't addressed it.
It's more than 7. It's 10.
No, it's
8.
It's
I
7.
thought it
It's
was-
8.
It's 24 to 31.
I thought we were in 32.
Well, my favorite characters would be a tie between Chalky
Oh.
I thought Jip was your favorite.
and Jip.
I go Chalky and Van Alden.
Oh.
In a dead heat.
It's
And
hard
my
to say.
least
3
favorite-
episodes to go and
I mean, Jip was a season, so...
Yeah, but no, Jip was powerful. I don't care. I love Jip.
Jip was like a shooting star.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't know how much more Jip.
Now-
you
My
can
least
take it.
favorite, though.
Go ahead.
Spider. Reasonable.
So far, no one has said Jimmy Darmody. No one
I
has.
love Jimmy.
No one has said Richard Harrow.
I love Richard, but you have to remember, first of all, Jimmy was, what, 2 seasons?
I have to tell you that there was a period of time
Harrow
where I couldn't stand
was-
Eli.
4.
I have come around
Yeah.
on that. And I didn't actually
Harrow's
like
4.
Nelson on the first season either.
No, I know. He was
bugged
creep of the
me.
week for the first whole
Yeah.
season and a half.
2 seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Harrow might have been the most compelling character, right?
Oh, yeah,
he was the most
great.
He had the
was
most
great.
like raw honesty and raw
Well,
like.
what did we say before?
But I
He
loved
was
his relationship with Jimmy, too.
he's the only character
And his
in
son,
the
his
entire
son.
series that has a moral compass.
He
no
is,
one else
yes,
does.
and this is
Not
we talked
one
about it in
person.
the original recap.
Not even
Is
Margaret.
that he's the only one
Oh,
with a
she's
moral
the
compass.
worst.
I know.
No one else has a moral compass.
That's
in
why
that
she's
show.
good. She's both the best and the worst.
I actually think Chalky has more of a moral compass
Of
than
course.
anybody else because he's out
Well,
there
at this
and
point,
fun with
yes. At this point, yes.
it. Well, I mean, he's corrupt, but he was still very...
So Capone is
But
the
he
only
had two
favorite
faces,
character.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Two faces.
No, I mean Capone is.
Listen.
he's
That
he's-
actor is fantastic.
Dynamic.
3 episodes left, and Capone is huge in those episodes.
We're gonna get a finish to this. Spider fan.
All right.
All right.
So that's signing off for season 5, episode 5,
And 4.
and a little bit of 4, I guess. Next week we may have a 2-man podcast. We'll see.
I have to be away next week.
Dueling
I'm
podcast.
devastated, but I'm going to be out of town,
Do we
so
know
I
the
can't
name of
do it.
next week's podcast? Next
it's
week's
available. I
episode?
don't know what it is off the top of my head, but
Land ho!
it's called episode 6. Is what
You
it's called.
hot?
Yeah, I'm dying.
All right. Till then,
Cheers.
Slancho.
Slancha.
Thanks for the invite.
Salud.
Thank you, Tim.
There you go. Thank you for listening to Boardwalk Breakdown, and follow us on Twitter at Boardwalk Break.